Oh yeah, my favorite part, the big tires.
That's really awesome.
Hey everybody, we're back. Today we're continuing the work on the Mast trailer. Looking at the tires right now.
So let's get going on the trailer that's made in Canada in the North Woods and see what we can come up with today.
You might have watched my other video where I was assembling the chassis.
One thing I failed to mention
when I was showing you the chassis assembly was there's a couple grease fittings right here on the axle tubes. So make sure you install those. Very nice feature. That way you can grease your axle, your bogie axle. As you can see, that rotates up and down. Keep that nice and greased. And you don't have to take it off to do it. So let's take a look at these tires. They're really nice. I believe they're made in China probably. A lot of these tires are, unfortunately. The name is Wanda on the tire. I didn't know she was making tires, but apparently she is now. And
but they look like a pretty good all-terrain tire.
They're a 22 by 11 by 8, so they're fairly good size. They're about almost 24 inches tall, and I do not see a country of origin on them, but most likely they're made overseas. You can see the certificate of quality of products right there, and there's some sort of stamp there that's a little bit hard to read. 2014. But anyway, it is going on an ATV trailer, so they're actually very well made. I like them. So enough talk, let's put them on. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop them on there, and then I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done. One thing I wanted to note, if you look here, there's some damage to the powder coat where they've been chipped, maybe when they put the tire on the rim. So later on I'm going to touch that up with some white paint because I really don't want that to rust. I've got other trailers all over the place here, and if there's any little nicks on the rims, they start rusting pretty badly, so I'd like to keep them looking good. So anyway, let's put it on. Oh yeah, my favorite part, the big tires.
That's really awesome.
Man, that's sweet. So those look great. Look at the clearance between the two tires. Just probably about a 3/4 of an inch is all. So that's really awesome. Great flotation on soft ground with the 4 big tires. And they bolt right up. I've only installed 2 lugs per wheel because I'm going to probably take them off and to touch up those spots on the rims. But I wanted to go ahead and put those on. So keep moving here. So on to the next step. It's really going together pretty quick. All right, I made it to the hardware store and bought some flat washers. So I've changed out the bolts there on the drawbar like I was talking about. I went to a 5-inch bolt, and I have flat washers on either side. That just helps distribute the load on the square tubing and on this rectangular tubing. Anyway, so I'm putting the mast together now. This is the winch mast. I've installed this winch mount and then the mast brace, or the winch mast brace. And again, I've used flat washers on the nut side only. I didn't use them on the side with the bolt heads. So anyway, it's time to install the winch. So I'll do that next. It's a very good quality winch. It's made by Fulton, so it should work quite nice. So here we go. Okay, I have the winch mounted. You can see that there. Again, I put flat washers on this side as well, and on this side on the winch is recommended. Then we have our mast mount which is this tube, and then the box lock bar. That's what locks the bed up if you're winch loading the bed. This is how the instructions say to assemble it, where you have a flat washer in between the lock bar and the mounting bracket. That means this bolt is a little short. This is a 3.5 inch bolt, so I'm gonna get one from the hardware store. It's 4 inches. When I do that, I'm also going to install flat washers here and on this side. So I'll do that later when I have a chance to run to the hardware store in town. Alright, it's going by quick. I gotta make sure I get a video of all this. So I put on the mast, which is held on with this single pin. It telescopes into the tube there. Up on top of that is this pulley assembly bracket. So the pulley will fit through there. And then we have these stabilizer bars right here, and they fit, of course they're bolted on there. Notice I'm using flat washers again. They bolt on and go through here, and that's held together with a pin. Now I'm not necessarily real crazy about these little pins here, these little spring pins. They come off very, very easily. Pretty sure I'm going to lose those in the woods or in the fields or something. So I'll probably replace them with a different type of pin, and I'll show you that in a little while. Of course, I gotta go to the hardware store again. Every job I do, it seems like it takes at least 2 or 3 trips to the hardware store to get everything I need by the time I get done. It doesn't matter if I'm painting the house, putting together a trailer, or working on a tractor. Let's keep moving here. I'm going to put the pulley on. And while I'm blabbing here, I might as well show you the pulley. The pulley is really nice. It's looks like maybe a custom machined aluminum pulley. And has a nice smooth surface there for the rope to run in. The winch uses a rope, probably similar to a winch line rope. It's not cable, so that's kind of nice, so it won't hurt your hands. So this pulley is held in place with another pin, and it looks like they're wanting you to put one of these spring pins on there to hold the pin in place. I'll probably replace that with a Carter key. So let's see what that's going to look like. All right, the other two things one thing I didn't show you. I got the kickstand on, and you can see it uses this interesting bent bolt as a lock. So you push down on that, backs off, and then the kickstand will come up. And then there's a hole here that you put a pin through. So you raise this all the way up till the hole is up here, and then the pin goes through the top. It'd be kind of nice if this was drilled for that pin to go through there, maybe up here. I might even drill mine eventually. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Of course, this is using that same pin as like this, with these little clips that fall right out. And I'm not joking, when they fall out, you can just barely touch them and they pop right out. So I will probably replace that pin along with these others with a safety type pin, and I'll show you that later, like I said. Let's move along here to the front. I got the coupler attached. Very well made, nice galvanized coupler. Has 2 3-inch bolts holding it in place. Again, I put flat washers on either side to secure that. I don't believe the instructions say to do that, but I did that. And I think that makes a much more solid joint. The holes in there are actually quite large, so that fills up the hole, and it really allows it to squeeze down on that drawbar. So let's see what's next. I believe I got to wind some rope. All right, I'm going to show you how to attach this rope to the winch drum. It's fairly simple, but it's maybe a little bit tricky figuring it out from the drawing in the manual. So we come through this hole,
And then we're going to go through this hole. Now note these holes have these embosses on them, or this flare. So you want to follow those holes, because there's 2 holes that do not have that, like this bottom one we're going to go through. So we're going to pull through the bottom, push through there. All right, and then we're going to come up underneath that rope, and then we're going to work that slack out. And see, this piece of rope keeps that end in place or tight against the winch drum. And there we are. Very solid, and it doesn't require any knots. Just like that. Now, speaking of knots, we're going to tie the hook, because it says in the manual to tie this with 2 half hitches, but there's no diagram showing what 2 half hitches are, so I'll show you what that means. All right, so here we go. We're going to do 2 half hitches. The 2 half hitches are a great way to attach rope to an eyelet, just like this. So they're absolutely right wanting to use that knot. So we're going to come through like that. We're going to loop around like so, and then pull that into that shape. Now we need a little extra rope, so you just kind of have to work with it till you get enough rope. You don't want too much, but you want enough so that if it slips, it still has some rope to bite on. So there's one hitch. We're going to do another. So this is 2 half hitches. And there you go. So let me do that second one again. So you see that, you just come around, under, like so, and then pull it tight. There you go. Chassis is complete. The final touch was these plastic caps that fill the hole in the tubing. That was really a nice touch, and you can see them there. So there was 3 total. I use a dead blow hammer to install those so I don't damage them. You may want to heat them up a little bit. The instructions say to do that with a hair dryer or a light or whatever, just get a little warmth. But they went right in there with the dead blow hammer, real easy. So it looks good. I installed the winch handle. I think I may have jumped the gun a little bit on that from the instructions, but I wanted to go ahead and put it on there. It was just a simple bolt, or a simple nut, excuse me. It's a nylock. So, and I've wound up the winch line, so that looks good. So I think our next step is working with the body, which should be interesting. There's a ton of fasteners for that, so let's get started.